Jaya Radha Madhava
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Giribaladhari Gopijana Balaba Giribaladhari Yashodanandana Bhajana Vanjana Yashodanandana Bhajana Vanjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So nice to be here. Yesterday I was here, but I was more jet lagged, I think. Now it's getting more clearer and clearer. I can see all your beautiful faces. Where to start? I start with something funny. This was after Prabhupada came to Perth. While he was in Perth, some slippers arrived in a parcel, like UPS parcels, and about this big. And he opened the box. It was a gift for Prabhupada from a disciple. It was a pair of shoes. As the disciple knew what kind of shoes Prabhupada liked. He didn't like just any shoes. So Prabhupada put the old shoes in the box, and his disciple sent it off back to the devotee that sent the shoes. So that was a very nice way to end up with the nectar of Prabhupada's shoes. So devotees are always trying to think of some kind of gift or something they can give as a service or an item or whatever. And so after Prabhupada arrived in Melbourne from Perth, there was one occasion where the temple was crowded, and he heard the devotees all offering obeisances, and he heard, "Do not touch the Bhagavatam to the floor." So I concocted with my creative little brain. Somebody, disciple, must have touched Prabhupada's Bhagavatam to the floor. Because they're bowing down, you hold in your arm and bow down and touches it. So I thought, I'm going to get a really nice cover cloth for Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, and that'd be a really nice gift. So I went to the Didi Pujari department and I arranged for a cloth to be made from cloth that was left over from making a Didi set. It was very beautiful and embroidered, and inside was a pink silk lining. And every time I came back to see it, it was getting more spectacular. So then it was finished, and we used to transport everything with back to Godhead boxes. And they always, all the BTGs always came in a certain size box. So we take a box downtown, put the box on the ground, and start selling incense and back to Godhead magazines until the box was empty. But we ended up with a lot of these boxes. It became the standard tote bag for whenever you want to move around the temple area. So I got this box, and I put, in the bottom of the box, I put mangoes. And the next level, I put a scarf that Maharaji knitted, like a more around your neck one. And at the top, I put what I call my spectacular, dazzling cloth for Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. So I came in the room, and there were a lot of devotees there, maybe up to 100 devotees. There was a devotee's house, and Prabhupada was staying there, and so I sat down, and after some time he stopped talking. He was talking about something, and he looked at me and goes, "So, what is that?" And he's like, "What's in the box? What's going on here?" So, Prabhupada, I heard you say that we shouldn't touch the Bhagavatam to the floor. So I got you this nice, beautiful, I picked the cloth up, beautiful cloth for Bhagavatam. I did not touch the Bhagavatam to my floor. I said, "Oh, Prabhupada, I didn't mean... I touched it, I keep the Bhagavatam on the bookshelf." But I didn't mean that I keep my Bhagavatam on the bookshelf, on the table. That book cloth is for you. And all the devotees were cracking up. They're sitting like you, but they're rolling over because they couldn't stay up. And everybody was laughing and laughing and laughing. And every time I tried to explain why I brought this cloth, Prabhupada interjected again, like with a sword. And my mouth was like, I couldn't say anything. It was so funny. I always felt like a cockroach or something. I wish I could crawl in a little hole somewhere and hide. And everybody was laughing at me. It was so funny. So then he said, "What else?" So then I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to take anything out of this box. But I have to." So I was like, my mood was like, and what's Prabhupada going to say? So then I pulled the scarf out, and that was like, he liked that, all right. It was kind of neutral response. And then I'd been downtown Melbourne, or in the central station. They have a big fruit stall, and they bring in mangoes all the way from Queensland, and they're very beautiful, pinky peachy color Bowen mangoes. You couldn't get them that kind of quality that time of year, so they're really the best of the best mangoes. So he asked, "What's in the box?" And I think the microphone just went off. Came back. Sorry. So now I just pull the mango out very... I buy the mango for you, if you like mango. And then he just smiled, and he got a big... You've seen the pictures of those big smiles. Ah, Mango is the king of fruits. Mango is the king of fruits. This is a gift. And then I was so relieved, and he called Shruti Kirti from the kitchen, and he said, I want mango in my milk tonight. I want to have mango milk. And then it was like, I was so relieved, and he was so merciful. But then later, I read in different Prabhupada's books that Krishna doesn't like it when you become puffed up. Well, you got to offer anything, something pretty good, but it's not pleasing to Krishna if you're puffed up. So I looking back on it, I could see that I thought, oh, I've got a really good offering, it's really wonderful. That wasn't the right attitude, and that's why I got such a response. But it was quite funny to remember also. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, no, I'm sorting out what did I talk about yesterday and what I haven't said yet. Knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. When I was giving class once, the verse was the one about knowledge, forgetfulness, and remembrance. And we were reading the verse, and I said, and Krishna says, from me come knowledge, remembrance. And my mind went blank. Empty. What was I talking about? Knowledge, remembrance. And my godbrother Balaram, he said, forgetfulness! Which was hilarious because Krishna's in my heart and he just switched off the memory there. It's like a living demonstration of what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. I first came into Association of Devotees in UCL, University of California at Los Angeles in 1970 or in late 1969. There were devotees coming on the campus and giving classes in the Bhagavad Gita, and they advertised it around the campus. It wasn't for any actual degree or anything, but the devotees who wanted to do it just started a Bhagavad Gita class. And my friend who was into meditation said, I think you'd like to listen to these people. And so I went there. By the mercy of the Supreme Lord, I walked in and I saw the first class I ever heard by Vishnujan Prabhu. And his classes were pretty incredible. And the devotees were out of this planet. They're so far out. They all got dodis and kirtas and songs, jingling. The women ladies had jingling ankle bells. The place smelled like incense. And I'm like, wow, who are these people? And then Vishnu John Prabhu started giving the class. So he spoke on a lot of things. Some of them I didn't feel very convinced about, like the map of the universe, including this is Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma sprouts a navel from his body, a flower, a lotus flower, and I'm like, well, this is really far out. Lord Brahma is up on the lotus flower, and Lord Vishnu is emanating planets from his pores while he's sleeping. And that's the most far out thing I ever heard of. I didn't even believe it either. But what he got me was he said, you're the soul, you're not the body. You're the soul, and the soul is eternal. The soul is eternal, and you are the soul. The body is not the real person. Now he said, when you go out of this place today, I want you to keep track of everything you do for the whole 24 hours next day, and see how many things are for the soul, and how many things you're doing are just for the body. So I took up the challenge. When we walked out, after eyeing off a big plate of sweet Simply Wonderfuls, they used to call these little milk sweet balls. And the devotees were all like eyeing them off, and the guests didn't eat many. So the devotees were pouncing on the sweets. Anyway, so I walked around. I saw everything that he said was true. There's nothing going on except taking care of the body. You go out of the classroom, go to get something to eat for the body, then you go back and have a shower, wash the body, so brush your body's teeth, and comb the body's hair. Whatever you could think of was all true. He's nothing but the body. And so I started going around seeing everything in a different way. And I got the next class. I was Tamal Krishna Goswami, and then everyone started going and visiting the temple and chanting with the devotees, and eventually lost interest in them because I started questioning. I was supposed to get a degree in something, but I didn't know what I wanted to get a degree in. So I kept looking around and talking to people and trying to decide what I want to do. And I went to this psychologist, Dr. Lee McAvoy, and he said, the problem with psychology is there's no conclusions. He said, there's a wall of books in his office. And I said, you just take one of these journals down and have a look. So I get a big book down. He says, now turn to the conclusion page. Okay. And I said, what do you find? Due to the fact that there are so many circumstances that would affect the conclusion, we've decided there's no conclusion. And he said, that whole wall there is full of books that say the same thing. So I thought, I was waiting. I thought he's about to give me his conclusion, and then I said, he said, the problem with psychology today is that they have no concept of man. They have no concept of who man is. So then again, I was waiting. He's going to tell me what man really is now. I mean, he was silent. And I said, well, what's your definition of man? And he said, I don't know. So this is at the same time I just started reading the Bhagavad Gita, which everything, as you well know better than me, is clearly described. The soul is the eternal person, going from one life to another, uncontrollably pushed along by the powers of karma and sins and the whole thing. But it's very definite what is going on here. Who man is, the soul, he's eternal, and all of these things I read at the same time. So it became very tipped over in the direction of Krishna consciousness, and the chanting was ecstatic. Chanting was like, I was like addicted to the chanting. I would go there on Wednesday, chant with the devotees, and I'd be just like so bliss. I never felt a feeling like that. I kept coming back every week, get some more chanting, get some more chanting. And so we were waiting for classes to start. I didn't have anything else to do, so I said, go chant with the devotees. So I'm Hari Nam Sankirtan down streets in Hollywood, California, and chanting Hare Krishna. And then I got too happy. I was so blissful, I didn't want to stop doing it. So I just... so that's when Prabhupada actually came there. And on the 11th of May, 1970, just coincidentally happens to be in a couple of days here, 11th of May, 2025. It was 55 years ago to the day that I got initiated by Prabhupada. first time I actually saw him, we were all chanting in the streets of Hollywood Boulevard. We would chant and chant and chant all day. Vishnu John Prabhu would tape his hands up with medical gauze tape, padded it up and taped around it. He's sitting right next to me, right there. I got his darshan every day, watching him put the tape on his wrist and his palm, pad it all up, get out of the van, boom, 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 boom. He went all day. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Boom, 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 boom. Down the street, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare. And he had curly sika, and it would bob up and down. Hare Krishna. He's so into it. He was amazing. And so then I got closer and closer to visiting the temple a lot, and didn't have classes didn't start yet at the university. So well, what do you want to do? Oh, more chanting. So I was going out every day, and then my friend Stoka Krishna, who was like my guide, or he looked after me at the temple, and I said, well, I guess I'll go home now, unless I can stay at the temple. And he said, you can stay at the temple. Okay, I'll stay at the temple. And I went home and got my sleeping bag, brought it back to the temple, on the floor, boom, there I was. I didn't want to go anywhere else. So then I need some water. So the first time I saw Prabhupada himself, he came in a VW Volkswagen car to the street and watched the devotees chanting. Excuse me. Prabhupada came to watch the devotees chanting. And they all saw him, and then, Prabhupada, Prabhupada! And they all flopped full obeisances on the street, sidewalk right there. And what's going on? I couldn't see Prabhupada. The car drove away. I didn't see him. But then he came to the temple. At that time he was staying in a house, but he came to the temple, and he was touching everybody on the head. All the devotees would, when Prabhupada's car parked in front of the temple, everybody would run to the side of the edge of the pathway and get down on their knees, offer obeisances, and then Prabhupada, like that, and he came along and he patted every devotee that was there on the head. So lovingly, a beautiful smile. And everybody was going, some would cheat and go and get in the line again. Get patted again. And then he came by me and he stopped and he looked at me because he hadn't seen me there before. So he goes like that and patted me on the head. So that was the first time I got physical darshan. But you can say that Prabhupada's mercy was flooding the world and sweeping up all those who could be attracted to his love and Krishna consciousness. We never felt like we were doing things. The Krishna consciousness movement was doing things. Prabhupada was doing divine things. There's divine things happening all around. And everything was beyond our conception. Beyond our conception. And he My mind's jittering around. Okay, the car I got, my relationship with the management of the temple was a little different because I was not a hippie. And the Hare Krishnas were all hippies. They considered themselves to be coming out of the Haight-Ashbury 60s drug psychedelic world. Allen Ginsberg and Prabhupada was preaching in San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury, and all those places. And the devotees thought I was weird because I was a university student. I was straight. Those people don't join. I was kind of like, what are you doing here? You know? And I had my blondie curly hair, used to have hair, and it was growing quite out. And I was not the kind of people that join Hare Krishna. I got a view of this because when my brother told me, my brother in my family, he told me what happened from their point of view. So I came home from Los Angeles for the Christmas holidays, and I was, the devotees told me, Maya will try to get you. Don't let Maya take you away from Krishna. So I took that literally. And I came home in my VW, and I had a stack of books that I bought. There was only 3. They had the Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Prabhupada's Indian Bhagavatam, and the Bhagavad Gita by Collier Macmillan, the purple one. And I got in my car with I kept the books on the seat like a passenger with a seatbelt on it. And I got out of the car with the books, went to the front door of my house, turned the key, pushed the door in. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinami. I didn't want Maya to get me. But they weren't home. That was fortunate. So I marched down the hallway to my room, plunked all my books on the top of my dresser like an altar with a cloth, incense stick, everything. And there we go into that world. But, it was, at that time, my family thought I had gone crazy. Very distressed about it. They didn't know about Vedic culture, Hindu monks, or any kind of things like that. But they thought, oh, he's just gone nutty. But I before that, I'd been doing some kind of meditation, and so I started getting up in the morning and chanting japa. And to keep out of the way, I would like get behind a chair in the lounge room and Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. And they're all asleep, so they wake up hearing me doing this, and particularly strong on the SH. My brother said, it's like shh, 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 shh. And then when they all went to the cabin by the beach for the summer holiday, and I didn't want to play cards with the family, and I wanted to chant or read, and I didn't want Maya to get me. So I would sit away from the family and chant. And then my dad said, come on, you gotta at least sit with the family, don't be so separatist. And so then I sat there with the family playing cards. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. So they kept hearing This is what my brother told me, what they experienced from This is crazy. So they weren't so. Anyway, my dad said, "All right, you want to chant Hare Krishna? Just promise me that you finish your degree, because I have confidence that the university will straighten you out." So I went back and chanting, but school hadn't started yet. Like I said, they're just getting ready. So I kept going to the temple, and devotees would find me going to Harinam, which every day, there he is, there he is, there he is. But I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have shaved head. I didn't have to be ordered around. I was not necessarily in or out yet. But I was there, and Stoka Krishna said I could go as much as I want. So I just stuck there. I didn't go anywhere. But I didn't act like the other devotees. So the devotees were getting irritated. I was in jeans, and I didn't have a dhoti, and I was kind of there, but they didn't feel like. And they think university people are weird, straight, not one of us. What's he doing here? So Gargamuni Prabhu, who was the temple president, called me into his office one day, and he said, he talked to me for some time. So he said, so if you want to stay here, you actually have to give your whole life to Krishna. So he thought, if he says that, then I'll say, okay, I'll come in once a week. So I said, all right, I agree. Then he's like, don't you know that means you forever, you're giving your whole life to Krishna? I said, yes. Then he's like, oh, what am I going to say? Then he said, oh, you know, you'll have to shave your hair off. I said, yes, go ahead. Shave it off. Then he was like, okay. You sure about that? He was like, didn't want me to join. What's going on here? Anyway, I did. Prabhupada's mercy. And no need to go into all the details about all of those things, but they decided they needed some help in Japan. And this is very interesting because Prabhupada had told Sudama Prabhu and Chintamani Maharaj, Prabhupada, Sudama came around telling everybody, Prabhupada says, if you go to preach in Japan, I'll directly take you back to Godhead. Anybody who comes to preach in Japan. So Chintamani Maharaj, she's still with us also, and she said everybody was like, Prabhupada says you can go to Japan, you can go back to Godhead. So she joined, I'll sign up for that. And Sudama was telling everyone, only 3-4 devotees did it. Burchan Prabhu and Jagasrini are from that moment. They joined and preached in Hong Kong. And Sudama Prabhu, and he married Chintamani, and they just became the temple president of Japan. But Prabhupada had told all those devotees that if you go to preach in Japan, I'll directly take you back to Godhead. So everybody who went for the deal thought, that's a pretty good deal, let's go for it. And I was one of them. And, okay. I volunteered to go to Japan. I didn't actually know about the offer, but that's how I got over this way, this part of the world. So Prabhu says it's time to move to the next stage of the program tonight. I hope it was enlightening, and we can talk about it later. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So that's all under the topic, how did I end up in Perth? Part 2.5.
Thank you very much to His Grace Amogha Das Prabhu. Wonderful pastime of you with Srila Prabhupada and yourself coming to Krishna consciousness.